All right, good. Thursday afternoon, everyone. Thanks for stopping by for a check of the forecast. It is not quite 4 o'clock here in Amarillo. It is November 6th, year of our Lord 2025. We've got a couple of things to talk about. The weather is going to be relatively benign. Now, we do have the opportunity for maybe some northern light display overnight tonight. There looks to be maybe a potential solar storm that could impact, or a CME that could impact Earth over the course of the next 24 to 36 hours. So thoughts are that we could have a pretty high KP index value tonight, could be as high as 7 out of 9. If we get a pretty negative value of that BZ, basically a southern extension of the Aurora Borealis, maybe we'll even have a chance to see that here as far south as Texas. So that's something that we'll kind of allude to and talk about. We do have a couple of things working against us as well. I mean, yesterday was a full moon, and today we've got some clouds just to our north. So not ideal conditions out there to witness the Aurora Borealis, but it is something that will break down for you. Clear skies looking south from Childress. You can see again there's some drier conditions, not a whole lot going on in that direction. A lot of cloud cover coming off of the Sangre de Cristo mountain range, though, and that again is going to maybe hinder our ability to witness maybe a faint glow on that northern horizon should we see a northern light display through the overnight hours tonight. KP index is only at a level 4 out of 9 right now, so even if it were dark, probably not going to see anything, and there's no southern extension of it currently. BZ values are pretty well at 0. We like to see them around negative 15 to negative 25. When they're that low, usually we have a very good spectacular display of them. So temperatures right now, it is very warm and it's windy. That's kind of the weather story ongoing today. We do have those full-fledged elevated fire conditions. Temperatures not quite to record setting here in Amarillo. That record's 84. But where winds are sustained around 20 to 30, and temperatures are in the 80s, humidity's around 10 to 15%. Just make sure you're avoiding those activities that could start a fire because the conditions out there would allow it to spread at a quick pace. So you ask, what are some of those activities? Well, tossing cigarette butts out the window. That's probably a no-no. Probably shouldn't be doing that anyway. And then don't be driving on the tall, dry grass. Don't be parking your car in the tall, dry grass and leaving it running. Make sure that you're not welding or grinding. And again, all those sparks and flames are hitting any of that tall, dry grass as well. And if you have to do it, make sure you're doing it in a safe place and maybe have a way to put out a fire if one does get started. So that's again some of the things that you probably should avoid for the rest of the afternoon. Let's take a look at your aurora forecast. So pending the clouds clear out and we do see that KP value go way up to 7 plus tonight, and we get that southern extension. I think it's possible that if you're outside of the city limits and you're kind of in an area where there's very little light pollution, if you look along the northern horizon and you've got a good camera with really good low light settings, you'll probably have a chance to witness or at least take some pictures of maybe a faint red glow, maybe some red pillars on the northern horizon. Now, as you get further north, Denver, it's possible you guys could maybe witness this with the naked eye. The other caveat is the moon is going to have a lot of light. It's going to be putting out a lot of light tonight. So that's another issue that we're going to be kind of combating and fighting against. But I do think that it is possible still for us to maybe get at least a camera shot or two this far to the south. I don't think you're going to be able to witness it with your naked eye per se, but if you've got maybe a good camera that takes really good low light setting photos, then you probably have your best opportunity sometime between 9 p.m. tonight and 3 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's when we think that that CME will arrive, that coronal mass ejection. So here's your out the door forecast for tomorrow. Again, temperatures are going to be much cooler. We've got, kind of the wake of that front that's going to push through tonight. That's going to leave us in the 60s in the afternoon. So feeling more like fall. Pretty typical day for us in the upper 60s this time of the year. Some 70s off the Cap Rock and really kind of further south you go. Portales climbing to 73, 77 in Childress, 67 in Dumas. Let's go ahead and run you through the model. Again, that front should swing through tonight. Again, we should have mostly clear skies by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. It's going to be very chilly. Winds are going to be out of the north around 10 to 15. So 40 degrees will probably feel like it's about freezing. So that jacket may be necessary if you spend some time outside early in the day. The afternoon will be more manageable. That ridge kind of settles in overhead, and that's going to allow those winds to really calm down and die off. I mean, we're going to have a spectacular afternoon tomorrow as far as the conditions are concerned. The next front will arrive on Saturday, and really the core of that colder air probably doesn't get here until Sunday. We've kind of got an additional push of cold air as we move into Saturday night. That's going to lead to a very cold Sunday afternoon. Temperatures on Sunday will probably struggle to even get to 50 degrees. So definitely going to be a colder day for us. And then that ridge of high pressure, this is something that we're kind of watching way out in the extended. Again, you can see by Tuesday, this ridge starts to break down. If it propagates to the east or breaks down and pushes further south, it might open the door for this trough to maybe squeeze into the western side of the continental U.S. But for the meantime, we have this very what we call positive PNA oscillation cycle. And when we talk about the PNA, uh, the the Pacific North American Oscillation, when it's positive, you get these big troughs out here off the East Coast. You get these big ridges over here along the West Coast, and that's not a very active pattern for us in the winter months. That does open the door for dry cold fronts to push through on a regular basis, but it doesn't necessarily provide any kind of precipitation opportunity. And that's why we've been seeing a lot of sunshine lately. Is that's just the pattern that we've been in, is that positive PNA. I'm going to go ahead and show you again. This is the European ensemble. So why I'm pulling this up is you can see this line, and again, some of these ensemble means actually dip negative going into like the 12th through the 21st. So basically what that means is we may see this overall pattern inverted or flipped. So we may actually get a trough to try and set up over here towards the Four Corners region and a ridge out here towards the Carolinas and back up towards New England and the Great Lakes. If that were to unfold and come to fruition, that might be a better opportunity for us here in the Panhandles for maybe some precipitation. We have been below average across most of the area for rainfall over the last 30 to 45 days for the most part. There's maybe a couple pockets where it's not that bad, but it has been fairly dry as of late, especially over the last 30 days. And that's again allowing that grass to slow down. The freezing temperatures kind of becoming more prominent and prevalent and more common. So grasses are starting to go into the dormant stage, not seeing as much rain. That just means we're in that transition period where we go into maybe more of a fire concern when we get those windier days. So would like to see some additional precipitation to at least keep the soil a little bit damp. Now, the 8 to 14 day outlook has us with a slight chance to be below normal. And again, this is really just going to come down to how far inland some of these troughs make it. But there is some higher confidence that a trough may try and set up over Southern California sometime in the middle of the month. Should that trough continue to push to the east, that may open our door for that chance for some precipitation. So in terms of any kind of precipitation prospects, that's what we're looking at. It just looks very dry over the next 7 days. Maybe as we get closer to next weekend, maybe a little bit after that would be kind of the next window where we have that opportunity. At least that chance is non-zero. It's not a good chance, especially being as far away out as it is, but it's above 0%. So at least something to maybe look forward to. That's all we have for you this afternoon. Don't forget, Tuesday is Veterans Day, the 11th. It's going to be a beautiful day here in the Panhandles. Temperatures are going to climb into the 70s, maybe a breezier wind out of the southwest, so just keep that in mind. We might see some elevated fire issues that day. And then Sunday is soup and stew weather. Make sure you pull some roast out of the freezer, or some kind of stew meat that you can put in the crock pot, and maybe make some homemade noodles and throw that in there as well. Should be a really good weekend to do that. Enjoy some football and enjoy some chillier weather. If you haven't seen your first freeze yet, it's probably coming next week, at least for most of us. Maybe not Childress and Paducah. That'll be a little bit more questionable. But here in Amarillo, we've got you coming down at 27 Monday morning, which would be a hard freeze for us. It's been very spotty here in the Panhandle and the Central Panhandle for that freezing weather to really kind of settle in. We did officially hit 30 degrees last week at the airport, but my backyard specifically, I mean, we still have some pepper plants that haven't died yet, so it obviously didn't get that cold. And if it was below freezing, it wasn't for very long. So again, 27, that would be more of your killing freeze. Hopefully these mosquitoes and bugs and things like that kind of get put to rest and put to bed until we move into the spring and summer of next year. That's all we've got. I'm going to go ahead and end the live here. Thank you so much for stopping by. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to tune in tonight at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock.